We're going to show the steps it takes to apply the hydrographics to different parts. We have a lot of questions about the process, and we understand we can explain it, 1,000 times, but until you actually see a picture or a video, it goes a lot farther. So if you'll bear with us as we go through this process this morning, and we'll show you the steps it takes to make your part beautiful. First step is you're going to have something to hold this flat piece with, so we just put some tape handles on the back side to hold it properly, give you control so you can control the pattern. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some tape borders. And what this process does is keep the pattern from leaving the part that you're applying. I know it's kind of hard to see with the tan and the tan of the tape, but what will happen is when we put this into the tank, these will hold the larger portion of the pattern so there's no pull on the edges. The second part that we're going to dip today is the shield off from an ATV. As you can tell by the contours of it, it's completely different than that flat piece. It also has built-in handles, so we don't have to apply any. And with the contours like they are, the pattern's going to shift and move anyway, so there's no reason to put the tape along the outside edges. All right, now that we have the part prepped, ready to dip, we obviously got to have the pattern. As I said before, we got this camo pattern, so what we want to do is lay it out and make sure that we cut a piece that's bigger than the pattern. Make sure you can have the room to move it around and make it fit the pattern as you like. So just bear with me a second while we get all this prepped. All right, we're getting close to the end here. You actually get to see the process. All the work we've done has been to this point just to be able to put the pattern on. What we're going to do now is we've got our pattern cut. We're going to put it on this heated bed of water. There's a possibility to be some air bubbles in it. We'll have to work them out. Then we're going to put some tape up lines to hold it in place. We want a tight pattern so we can control it. So bear with us and watch the process. What we're doing here, as I mentioned to you before, we want to control this pattern. So we're going to stick some tape on the side here so it can't run away from us. Adjust our borders there. You've got to look the pattern over and see what we've got. We've got a couple of air bubbles in here we've got to work out. All right, now we just set our timer. It takes a while for this plastic to melt. There's two processes. First, we've got to melt it with the hot water. The second is we're going to spray an activator over the top of it. The activator on the top is going to melt the top layer. And then in the middle is the ink. That's what we're going to transfer to the part. So we'll go ahead and get our part ready. We're going to look over our pattern. As I mentioned to you before, we want to make sure that we've got a nice, good pattern area. That's why we cut a bigger piece of material here. Kind of look to see where we're going to put it on there. In the meantime, we're still waiting on the timer to run. Timer is very important. It lets you know how long it's been in there. Each pattern's a little bit different, but you got to do it several times to know where to set your timer, to know what the pace is going to be. Temperature, humidity, all has a big part of this. So you got to be careful. You can't just spray the same thing every day, day in and day out, and expect the same results. So you got to be careful, like I said, and do your homework and know what's going to happen. All right, now our timer's gone off. We're going to look the product over, make sure it's nice and slick, that there's no air bubbles in there, that the plastic's melting like it's supposed to. Once again, here we go with our activator. All this activator doing is, like I said, is melting that top piece. We got all that on there. Going to stand back and look at it for a second. Make sure that it's nice and level, that the plastic's melting like it's supposed to. Then you pick up your part. You don't know where you're going to go. And then you start. You got to watch what you're doing. Make sure that the film's not running away from you. Making sure that it's applying it like it should. It's a long, slow process. But as you can see, the pattern's going on very nice and neatly. We got it completely submerged. We leave it in the hot water for a few moments, kind of shake it around, make sure there's any excess pattern. It's dissipated. And then we pull it up out of the water, shake off the excess, and then you have a beautiful part. All right, here we go. Now we're going to do the camo pattern. Same process. You got your tank all cleaned off. You got your border set. You want to apply the film. Like I said, you want to make it as slick as you can. You don't want any air bubbles. That'll distort the pattern. It's laid out nice and slick. You want to pull it tight. We put the tape on here. Once again, we want to control this pattern. We don't want it escaping on us and going away and distorting the look of it. There we go. We got them set. Turn our timer on while the timer's working. Go ahead and pick your part up, look it over, make sure there's no dust or dirt that's gotten on it in the prep times. You look it over, you see what you got. You got to be careful. This pattern's different than the other. The other one was, you can put it any way you want. This one's a directional pattern, so you got to be able to look where you're putting it. If you're upside down, you know, it could definitely make a customer not happy when it comes to they get their part back and they want to know why their camo's upside down. So you have to look at it very carefully because it can be deceiving sometimes. Once again, we're letting our timer run here, so how long this part has to soak. We got to melt that plastic on the top side before we put the activator on the top side. Basically, all this is ink between two pieces of plastic. We want those two to be all gone and nothing but the ink floating on the water when we start this process. And here we go with the activator. Now this particular product requires more activator than the last one. It has a lot more ink in it, so it takes more to make it melt down, so it will dissipate. As we spray that, the pattern starts to grow. It fills in the whole area that we had taped off. We're letting it sit there for a second, watching it. You look at it, you see you have no pinholes, and now you go ahead and start the process. Once again, you just got to go slow and easy. Move into it and go down. Get it down there, shake it off, let it dissipate, then pull your product up. As you see, it's all one big pattern now. All right, now we're getting close to the end here. We've dipped them, we've applied the pattern. Now they're over in the rinse tank. The rinse tank, all we're doing here is taking fresh water, cold water, and rinsing the residue off that's left from the dip process. As you see, as we're doing this, it's turning the water's kind of milky looking. All that is just the leftover plastic that holds the ink together. This process can be very lengthy depending on the film, because I said before, each film's different. Usually between 3 and 5 minutes is a good rinse. You just have to watch and make sure that you're not washing the pattern off. You keep moving it around. These are the two parts that we had just dipped previously, and the next step after this will be the clear coat, which we use a high-grade automotive clear coat to add luster and durability and keep it looking good for a long time. In closing this morning, we just want to take and hit on a few items that's taken this process. Preparation is the most important thing out of everything. The preparation before you apply the paint, the preparation before you apply the pattern, and the preparation before you apply the clear coat is very important. What we want to do is this video is just show you that some of the steps involved and what it takes to make these parts as beautiful as they are. And if you got any questions, feel free to contact us at our website at professionalpowdercoat.com or give